What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Sports. It is your host, Romeo Sharp. We got our lovely co-host, and we call him the Sailor Man over here, Jaron. How we doing today, Jaron?
Wow. Hi. I'm great. How are you, Romeo?
Man,
What? I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Sailor Man, what's up? Hey, inside joke though. If you know, you know. But you know, I'm doing great, man. I had a great weekend, great week all together. You know, it's Monday, the start of a new week. You know, you got anything planned this week, Jaron?
Oh man, we live in San Diego, California, and we're young and broke, man. Got to work and grind all week.
Hey, yeah, the emphasis on the broke, please, y'all. Listen. Before we get started, y'all, please keep on subscribing, keep liking the videos as well. Leave comments down below for all of our videos and stuff like that we have going on. If you have any questions to send to either me or to Jaron or to Noah, you know, just go ahead and send those questions in as well. I got a question for you though, Jaron. I got a question for you. My question for you is, what's more scarier, the ocean or outer space?
The ocean for sure.
And why is that?
There's a lot of the ocean that's been undiscovered, and there's part of the ocean that we can't even go to. It's restricted for us to be in.
But I mean, that same argument can be said about space. I mean, we don't know damn near anything about space. I feel like with space, I mean, we might know like maybe less about space than we do about the ocean. At least I think that, what is it, like 2% of the ocean's been like discovered or something. I don't know, maybe that updated or something. But even in like outer space, like it's desolate. There's nothing out there.
But I mean, if you think about it, what access do we have to space versus the access we have to the ocean?
I mean, we don't got that much access. I mean, which is it kind of surprising. We're in 2025 and we don't got much going on. Space is just like, it's just out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just literally out there, and it just, I don't know, like it doesn't serve a purpose the same way maybe the ocean does or something along that nature. So are you telling me if you were stranded, right, you would probably be stranded in the ocean or like in the middle of the ocean, or would you rather be stranded in the middle of space? Because keep in mind, in the ocean, you got there's sea life down there, you know, big old sharks, whales or something like that. You know, you got imminent danger there. Obviously in space, there's the unknown. You don't know what's really out there. I mean, yeah, you maybe got the black holes and stuff like that, but like, you know, what do you think?
Shit, man, you're asking to choose between bad and worse. I mean, the better option is going to be the ocean. You can, you know, currents may take you, and you may shore up on an island. Depending on how long
ocean?
Okay, that's a puddle, guys. Depending on how long you know, you're out there for. But in space, you know, unless a fucking satellite space station sees you or come by, like, you're fucked.
No, yeah, you might be cooked, because I mean, there's not much, you don't get much human interaction in space, as opposed to you got a slim chance of a random just boat coming across you, and then maybe you might be saved. But in space, you got a damn like a rover, a little rover squeezing on by, and then have to travel all the way back to go like report like, oh, there's human life in the middle of the space, go send somebody. And that's gonna take what, like 10-12 years of your life for them to actually kind of find you, and then for you to travel back. Yeah, you might actually be cooked actually.
Yeah, no, that's not ideal. That's not ideal. Space is a no-no after thinking about it, and not at all.
So you rather be stranded in the ocean?
I like my odds.
You like it? Yeah, ocean. I think your odds are favorable in the ocean. No, what about you? How do you feel about that?
Space, to be honest.
Really?
Space.
Okay. Well, y'all, enough about this space talk and all that good stuff like that. Let's get into all of our main topics today. So some more topics, we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals recap. We're also going to get into Pittsburgh Steelers officially signing Aaron Rodgers. We're going to talk about Saquon and his dilemma he got going on. We're also going to talk about Derek Carr. And lastly, we're going to get into some news about the NCAA. So let's get into the first thing, y'all. So my question for everyone is, have the Pacers' Black Magic and contract with the Night Sisters come to a close, y'all. If you don't know about the Night Sisters, that's some Star Wars lore. So, hey, infinite ball knowledge for all my folks. So let's kind of get into this, though, y'all. Let's get into this Game 1, Game 2 recap of the NBA Finals. It happened over the weekend between the Thunder and the Pacers. The series is now tied 1-1, heading into Indiana with another dominating performance from SGA and company with 103-107 win last night in Game 2. For SGA himself, Jaron, he has now scored the most points in the first 2 games of a finals game for a debut from a player. He's passing AI, who had 71 in 2001. Wow. SGA himself has 72. So, wow. He scored 38 in Game 1, and he scored 34 in Game 2 yesterday. And then, obviously, for the Thunder themselves, other stars contributed as well. Jalen Williams, he had 19 points himself. We had a spark from the bench. Aaron Wiggins last night, he had 18 points last night and also had 5 threes to go along with it. Alex Caruso, he had 20 points himself as well, and then obviously just playing great defensively. And speaking of that Thunder's defense, they forced, in the last 2 games, they forced over 40 turnovers. In that Game 1, even though they lost, and, obviously by the hair of, whatever black magic that you believe in and whatever that the Pacers are doing here, they had 25 turnovers in Game 1, and that's all credit. We're going to give the credit to the Thunder defense, and then they also had 15 in Game 2. So in terms of the Pacers, they had 7 players in double-digit figures last night as well. Halliburton, he had 17 with 6 assists. He had 5 turnovers, and that's something that's uncharacteristic of him, and we'll get into that as well. Siakam, he only had 15. Miles Turner, he had 16. Aaron Naismith, he had 14. Nembhard had 11. Mathurin had 14. McCollum came off the bench. He played pretty well. He had 11 points off the bench. And then Obi Toppin, he struggled in this game after exploding in Game 1. He only had 3 points. So just looking at this series, kind of give my thoughts, and I'll send it over to you. Honestly, this series could have easily gone 2-0 in favor of the Thunder, honestly, if they took care of business in Game 1, because, we mentioned it earlier, Jaron. They were up by at least 15, almost 20 points in each game. And then you even text me even yesterday before the game even started, like you were kind of wary of the spread, because, the Pacers have been 9-10 point underdogs these last 2 games in terms of the spread. And again, like I said, they've had big leads in these games, but they were able to close the game out last night, and they honestly looked like the deeper team. SGA himself, he was more efficient last night for sure. The other night he put up 30 plus shots, but he got 38 points, but he did put up 30 plus shots. In terms of the Pacers, though, Tyrese Halliburton, he decided again to be very passive early on in this game, as the same way he did in game 1. So I kind of want to just go into ask you, Jaron, how did you feel about these first 2 games of the NBA Finals so far?
Man, they went exactly how I thought they would, to be honest. The first game, absolute black magic, because the Thunder, other than the missed assignments, the Thunder, they did their defense. They were on their thing. They were on their job as far as defense goes, and they were scoring the ball. SGA had, I don't know, would you say 36, 38 the first game? He did his part. It was literally just, you just didn't close it out. Game 2 was what should have happened Game 1, like you said. Exactly. And shout out to my GOAT Caruso. My boy was out there balling.
Hey, he's a former Laker, right?
Of course.
Yeah, so of course, yeah, I can see why that's a GOAT for you.
Where'd he get that ring from?
Hey, that is true. And then also, just like, if we're looking at this, just looking at this series in general, and like you said, we kind of already said it, and this has already been playing out in the Thunder's favor, because I think we both stated that this Thunder team matches up very well against this Pacers team defensively. The Thunder came in as one of the top defensive teams in the postseason so far. They cause turnovers. They're havoc on the glass. They're havoc in coming into the paint. They made Tyrese Halliburton so passive to the point where it's like, now it's like it's hindering him in that Pacers team. So if we look at it for the Thunder, what is it like? Like I said, like you got Lou Dort, the Dort. Like I said, I mentioned it last week. The Dort to chamber, like he's putting the clamps on Tyrese Halliburton, and like I said, he's making uncharacteristic mistakes as a player. You don't normally see Tyrese Halliburton have 5 turnovers in a game. He's gone games where he had 15 assists, 0 turnovers, 20 assists, 1 turnover. Like, this guy plays mistake-free basketball, but against this Thunder's team, it just looks like I don't know, like, and I think he's trying to grow in, like Tyrese Halliburton grow in, like he's starting to understand, like he's trying to go from a star to a superstar. But in order to be a superstar, you got to take over the moment that the tip off, like you got to get aggressive early. I think in those first 2 quarters, you got to at least jack up 15 shots. You know what I'm saying? Like before halftime, you got to have 15 shots, not when the game's over and you're like 9 for 17 at the end of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like for someone like Tyrese Halliburton, who does really well in the paint, like, you know what I'm saying? He's a really good player that when it comes to, you know, getting into the paint. And he's very tough. He's very tough, you know, in terms of like trying to guard him. And what was it? You know, passing out, because like I said, he's one of the best passers in the NBA for sure. But I think when we look at it, that Thunder's defense has been, we got to give them credit. We have to give them credit. They've been putting a lot of pressure on Tyrese Halliburton, and it's just forcing him to do, you know, make, you know, very silly, like really silly mistakes in that sense. So, you know, how, like, and my question for you is, how do you think Indiana can get Halliburton involved early in the game, in game 3?
He's just got to be more aggressive. That's all it is. It's really just about his aggression, because he can get whatever he wants. I mean, even though through the first 3 quarters he only had 5 points last night, in that fourth quarter he had 12. He was able to turn on. It was late, but he can do it. He just has to, like you said, from the jump, get up a good amount of shots in those first 2 quarters, get warm, get ready. So that way, when it comes to the third and fourth quarter, if it comes down to crunch time, he doesn't have to, you know, gear himself up to make those big shots. You're already warm. You're already ready. You got to be ready for those moments. And to get him involved, it's all on him. It's not a matter of what the coaching staff has to do or the other players around him. It's just he has to take the initiative to go out there and get a bucket.
Yeah, and I mean, and like I said, the coach said, Rick Carlisle, he's no stranger to the NBA finals as well. I mean, he got a hefty ring over there, taking the Dallas Mavericks in 2011 to beat, you know, the big 3 over there, actually, with LeBron James and all of them back in 2011. And so I think the other thing, too, is just like, I mean, you mentioned it, too, just like Halliburton, he needs to just like really just come into his own shell and just like really just get off to a fast start. He genuinely needs to get off to a fast start in this game 3 coming up, because, and this team just needs to stop. They need to stop spotting points. That's what I think they need to stop doing. They're down 19, 20 points almost every game in every series this postseason. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Obviously, you know, they've came back and stuff like that. But when you're playing a team like the Thunder, who are the best team in the NBA, and it's proven, I mean, record wise and everything along those lines, you know what I'm saying? Like you just can't spot a team like that points. And you can't first of all, like I said, the bench last night, I mean, Alex Caruso had 20, and then Aaron Wiggins, he had 18. Like, you can't spot 38 points to the bench on top of SGA having 30 plus points himself. Because if you give up 68 points to 3 players, I mean, that's not gonna go. I mean, or 70 almost, you know, 70 plus points to 3 players. You know, it's not gonna end well for you. And, you know, like I said, you can't just keep doing that. I mean, if we look at that Pacers defense too, I mean, they also have they've been playing pretty good. I mean, full court, they're playing full court press majority of the time on SGA. They do it against all like superstar point guards this whole postseason. So they're trying to just wear and tear SGA. But as opposed to when they had the Knicks series with Jalen Brunson, the body physique between the two, like SGA is a lean guy. He's a very lean guy, and with him, it's just like you're not gonna see wear and tear with him. So just looking at that, you know, it's definitely it is troublesome. It's troublesome to see that the Pacers are spotting 15 plus points, getting down early, and then again with Halliburton, like, you know, not turning up until the fourth quarter. You can't always do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Especially against SGA, he's the MVP of the league. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can't spot, and they're the best team in the league. You cannot spot a team like them all these points and think, you know, the Black Magic's gonna, you know, save you. You know what I'm saying? Right. So,
well, let me ask you this. So what we've seen with the first 2 games. What do we think now? Were we thinking 7-game series, 6-game series? What are we thinking?
Look, the Pacers are a really good home team, but the Thunder are actually a really great road team. Obviously, they got 68 wins on the season. You can't get 68 wins from just being winning 41 at home. You know what I'm saying? So the Thunder are still a really good road team. So the Pacers need to like really just like think about this in that sense. Like, look, I'm playing the best team in the NBA, and they need to come out. They already stole game one. So they got home court advantage still. They need to come out in game 3 again. Halliburton, he has not be as passive. You know, if you want to be a superstar, I get it. You want to be a superstar point guard who passes first, that's fine. But at the same time, you got to get your shots up. And I know you want to get everyone else around you involved and get them up going. Because again, like I mentioned, all their guys average double-digit points regardless. Like they got 6-7 guys that can, you know, do that. So I think overall, they got to come out in game 3 a little bit more aggressive, I think. More particular in Tyrese Halliburton, and then also you gotta at least put some type of containment on SGA. I was watching Nightcap last night, and then it was with Unk with Shannon, and then also you had Joe Johnson on as well, and I think you had Jermaine O'Neal. They had those two as the host or the guest. And they were talking about how possibly they can trap SGA, but because already like the pressure when he gets inside, when he drives, like whoever he's up against, he has the most confidence in the world. He's gonna jack up shots regardless. But I think maybe if they trap SGA and probably try to double him a little bit more in this upcoming game, that's something we can definitely see. But in terms of like this series though, I don't know. I think if it keeps playing out the way it's playing out, with the Thunder having 15-20 point leads and just pure dominance, like I said, I can see this probably getting finished up in 6 games. What about you?
I think it could be a 5 or 6 game series at this point, seeing what I saw in game 2, because it should have happened in game 1. Quite literally, game 1 was black magic. I'm not going to hold anybody on that. Game 3 and 4, even though it's in Indiana, if it's the same way the first 2 games went, I don't see Indiana having the luck to be able to make those big comebacks every single game. It's not possible. It's not likely. That's for sure. So I think it could be done at 5, honestly.
You know what? Like I said, I completely agree with you because, like I said, it could easily have been 2-0 right now. It could have been 2-0, and we could have been looking at possibly looking at a sweep here. Honestly, right. The way the Thunder, they're just well coached too. We gotta give credit to the coach as well. They're very well coached, and again, as a defensive team, we can't undermine that defense as well. Like I said, they're one of the top teams defensively in the postseason. So it's like we can't undermine that. We can't undermine the coach as well. And then again with SGA, he's gonna get 30 plus points. It seems like. He's already averaging 37 this series already in the first 2 games, which is ridiculous already. So it's just more so just slowing him down just a tad bit. Create more turnovers. You know what I'm saying? They gotta be more have more opportunities defensively. This Pacers team, I feel like, create more turnovers. Get to the glass more, you know what I'm saying? They got out-rebounded last game, too, so I think by, almost 20 rebounds, I believe it was, or something along those lines. And in game 1, I know they had, what was it? I think they had, 50 plus, 50 plus rebounds, and then in game 2, they only had 35. So that 17, rebound, differentiation, it's something that's problematic for sure because they had a lot of second chance points in game 1. Yeah. That was the main thing. That's what kept the Pacers, in this game. And if the Thunder keep minimizing those second chance points and also that fast break offense that the Pacers have, like you said, this series can end in 5 for sure. So, yeah. And but I want to hear what you guys think as well. Like I said, game 1 and game 2, they just finished up. The series is tied 1-1. Where do you think this series goes from here on out? Game 3's on Wednesday. And it's going to be in Indiana. Will the Pacers be able to, steal those 2 games at home, or will the Thunder, close the series out by game 5? So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And just speaking about, the NBA Finals, and like I said, with all that's going on, Jaron, I kind of want to go into, some of our top 5 NBA Finals moments that, we both witnessed at least. I'm talking about obviously when we're alive and stuff like that. I can't speak on what happened in the 90s, 70s, 60s, all that stuff because we just weren't alive for that stuff. But the things that we've seen with our very own eyes, I feel like we can kind of speak on stuff like that. Even with the Tyrese Halliburton, the week in game 1, that heroic shot that he made to seal the deal and steal game 1. I kind of want to ask you, what are your top 5 NBA Finals moments?
Man, top 5? Mm-hmm. Number 1 is undoubtedly, for me at least, is going to be when the Lakers won the 2020 championship, the year Kobe died. That one felt a lot heavier than any other ring just because of the circumstances, for sure. You got to get 2011 in there. Dirk and that gauntlet he ran in that year was absolutely insane. That's up there for one of the best rings ever. Definitely gonna go ahead. I'm a biased person. I'm not even gonna lie, but Kobe back-to-back after 2008, losing to the Celtics, going back to the finals in 2009 and 2010, getting 2 more rings without Shaq, kind of solidifying himself as one of the greatest players of his era and one of the greatest Lakers. No, the greatest Laker. Let me correct myself. The greatest Laker. Don't look at me like that. And what was that, 4?
I think I was, yeah.
Ah, man. 5, honestly, I give it to even though there were a lot of injuries, the Raptors run in 2019 was really fun to watch. I watched that whole playoffs, and it didn't seem like a team would beat the Warriors, especially in those years. Like, if anyone remembers, after 2016, the Warriors were like, it was just unstoppable. It was unbearable to watch. It was hard to watch the NBA in that time. Just because they dominated so hard. So I honestly didn't expect that would happen. So seeing Kawhi and like Fred VanVleet, that team was actually really good. When you go look back at their roster, that team is actually really, really good.
They had a lot of depth too over there too, actually. And I mean, we have some former Raptors on the team, the Pacers team with Pascal Siakam. Spicy P. That's the real playoff P, like I said. But no, I like that list. You know, I like that you actually threw in that Raptors team too. And more importantly, like speaking about Kawhi, because I kind of have him in my moments too. So in my top 5 moments, you know, I know you mentioned the Warriors dominance, and I mean we all witnessed the Warriors dominance. I feel like we were all in high school, getting out of high school and stuff like that, witnessing what they were doing. That was greatness all around, from Steph and to Draymond to KD. But my number 5 moment would be KD when his pull-up 3 over LeBron in Game 3 of the 2017 Finals. That right there, and that basically solidified, you know, KD. You know, his dominance that entire series was, you know, out of this world. I mean, the Warriors went on to win that series as well, and just that kind of just showed more of the dominance of that dynasty that we got to witness as well. And then for 4 though, kind of going to Kawhi though, you know, he won Finals MVP back in 2014 with the Spurs when they beat up on LeBron James and the Heat. That was probably one of my favorite, you know, moments that I watched, and that's when I really started getting into basketball. Honestly, watching that finals for sure, and then I got a couple other ones too. And I'm surprised you didn't bring this one up. The shot from Ray Allen in 2013. I think that was probably one of the top moments. At least for my living, you know, and I think that helped, you know, in terms of LeBron's legacy. You know, I think a lot of people piggyback off of that a little bit in terms of LeBron. Like, look, if Ray Allen didn't hit that shot, who knows, like, you know, in terms of like LeBron's greatness, how much it would be in question at this point in his career. Obviously, you know, he hasn't had the most success in the finals. I mean, he has 9 final appearances, but you know, 3 and 6, you know, that's not gonna cut it, obviously. But I mean,
still is crazy impressive.
That is
I'm
impressive,
sorry, like,
then he goes because he went to the
like 8 straight years.
8 straight years. So that's
unheard of.
And speaking about LeBron, my second one is, you know, and we heard it all across the world, blocked by James. You know, that right there, when LeBron blocked Andre Iguodala in the 2016 NBA Finals to ultimately solidify, what is it, a 3-1 deficit, to be, you know, something that was unheard of, basically unheard of. And LeBron, like, they were overpowered. They were outmanned by the Golden State Warriors, because this Golden State Warriors, they were 73-9 that year, weren't they? Yeah. That year, like, they had that was actually insane. And then to even piggyback off of that, my top NBA Finals moment, it would probably be Kyrie's game-winning shot in Game 7 that year too. So those were like some of my top moments. I mean, obviously you can see LeBron's in there almost in every single moment, it seems like, whether it's on the negative or the positive side, you know, like he's played a part in almost every finals that I've watched. So it's like in times of my moments. So how do you feel about that?
Honestly, 2016 is going to be, I feel like that goes without saying. Me being biased, I can unbiasedly say that the 2016 finals is the greatest finals of all time. Or definitely in our era. If we're going to keep it to what we're talking about, definitely in our era. Hands down. I remember that Game 7. I was in a Buffalo Wild Wings when I watched that Game 7. Crazy night, crazy day.
Hey, and that shot from Kyrie too was probably just out of this world for sure. So, with that being said, though, I want you guys to let me know down in the comments below if either me or Jaren's, top 5 moments or some of your favorite moments, or if there's one that, if you're probably a little bit older, if you have, from the 90s or maybe early 2000s, if you guys have anything, that you can remember or anything like that. Noah, do you have, is there anything that, that you wanted to add in terms of, your top NBA moments in the finals?
Not really. I mean, the 2010 NBA Finals, just watching it on repeat because I wasn't really watching basketball back then. There was a lot going on, but watching it in repeat and knowing kind of the backstory on what Kobe went through, and then back in 2007 and then 2008, 2009, 2010, that whole run, it wasn't a three-peat, but I feel like that finals run really kind of solidified Kobe's career. I'm also reading his book right now, so that's why I'm talking about Kobe. But 2000, like Jaren said, 2019. That was a pretty fun finals, just because it was fun seeing Kawhi in the finals again. And 2014 when the Spurs got their get back on the Heat, kind of broke up the Heat too. And that was like a 36-year-old, 37-year-old Tim Duncan.
Wait, sorry to cut you off, but speaking of that, breaking up, do you think Kawhi is responsible for breaking up 2 dynasties right there? Because he broke up the Heat, and I think in 2019 when they won, do you think that kind of broke up the Warriors as well? Do you think he's kind of a dynasty breaker, you think?
He was in the center of them breaking up already, because Draymond and KD already had problems, right, going into that season, and then injuries and stuff happened too. So yeah, he was kind of just in the forefront of it, and he was kind of the last blow, the knockout, and that is Kawhi. He just killed him. He killed both of them. So yeah. I think, and that's obviously the Warriors came on and win a couple years later on, but overall, I like that you said that too about Kobe and stuff like that too. So, but again, y'all, just let me know down below what were your top NBA Finals moments. Just leave it down in the comments below, okay? Moving on, Jaren. The Pittsburgh Steelers are officially announced as a senior assistant living home, okay? Yo, because, and the reason why I say this is because Aaron Rodgers, our good old pal Aaron Rodgers, the 41-year-old quarterback, he officially signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me kind of give you a little rundown what the contract and everything looks like for them, Jaren. So Aaron Rodgers, he's returning for his 21st season with the Pittsburgh Steelers after signing a 1-year, $19.5 million deal, $10 million guaranteed. Again, the 41-year-old is set to play for his 3rd team. He's now the highest paid player in NFL history, by the way, in career earnings, if you did not know that. He's earned $401.1 million in his career. He surpassed Matthew Stafford, who recently just signed, and he made $391.313 million on the year. So let's kind of get into this real quick, though. This deal right here, Jaren, it makes him the 17th highest paid quarterback, and it's a 1-year deal, by the way, which is kind of crazy, though. Would you say?
Insane. It's actually crazy. Considering what he did and what he's been through injury wise and what he did in Green Bay, I mean, it was kind of a little diva-ish. I think it's insane to get 20 mil. Yes, that's crazy. And
I mean, I kind of agree with you in that sense, because I personally thought, I've said it, we talked about it maybe 2-3 times on this show about Aaron Rodgers. I know he's had obviously in terms of signing with the Steelers, he had personal issues going on before he wanted to sign. He had a lot of close people in his circle just either sick or stuff around that nature. So but I personally thought he should have retired, honestly, because I think when it comes down to it, because you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain, and he kind of had that villain act, because it's a lot of people, like you said, we seen him kind of have a diva act. Even when he was with New York, a lot of people just didn't like his attitude. And even what was it? I don't know what player was for the Steelers. I think he literally told him, he told him back in February when there was speculations of him signing with the Steelers, he was keep his old ass in the retirement home. I think it was it Deshaun Elliott? I think it was Deshaun Elliott. Yeah. I think it was. And so now, full circle, now he's his teammate. And again, and even Cam Hayward, he's a Steelers legend. He even felt with everything going on, it just felt Aaron didn't want to be there. Like, he didn't want to be there because he had so much going on, and being in this dark room, and all that, all that stuff, spiritual stuff he had going on, and all that. I think, like I said, he should have retired. You know what I'm saying? And I think with playing at Pittsburgh, his legacy could possibly be on the line. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's kind of like it's good for him that he went to the Steelers because he gets to play with Mike Tomlin, and he'll be in a good situation for himself. But from the outside looking in, like, if you're like everyone that's in the locker room already, you got a guy that's, like you said, a little diva-ish. This guy's 41 and just signed for a $20 million deal. And mind you, they're already They were 1, 2, 3 weeks into OTAs.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, these guys have already started building chemistry, so it may leave a sour taste in some of the other players' mouths. But it really looks like, to me, if I was a player there, it looks as if Aaron Rodgers in his last years is just trying to put himself in the best possible situation to win a ring, which is fine. I get it, but I mean, it can't, like, you're taken away from some other people in Pittsburgh as well. I personally would love to have seen Will Howard play this year. I know what you said last week, don't throw him into the wolves, but he looks good to me, man. I would have loved to see him play this year. I'm not gonna lie.
And we might see him this year, but because I'm gonna be honest with you, no disrespect to Mason Rudolph, but we ain't seeing Mason Rudolph touch the field. I don't know. Like I said, look, I don't think Mason Rudolph's a good quarterback. So regardless, I don't know how. I'm not trying to be as disrespectful, but he's not a good quarterback himself. But I will say though, I feel if the O-line protects Aaron Rodgers, we could see. I mean, I think there's a report that came out earlier actually that the Steelers felt like that Aaron Rodgers was kind of going into forming to his younger self a little bit over there in New York, just a tad bit. I know he didn't have much game tape in terms of that because he missed a whole year, and then things were looking a little shaky and rocky. It is the New York Jets, by the way, and we both know that that's abysmal of a franchise, but
he didn't help it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really help it, but I think being under Mike Tomlin as well, and having DK Metcalf, I think him and DK can be surprisingly very good for this team. I think, and like, let's not ignore it. Aaron Rodgers, he still is a really good player. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he's older now. He's not what he once was. He's a little bit slower now with that torn Achilles injury that happened. So I don't know. And he's also playing in a very rigged division. The AFC North, probably, like I said, in terms of like the best defenses, they probably got the second best, defense in terms of that division in all of the NFL, because, you're going to be playing up against, some of the top edge guys. Like, you're going to play Myles Garrett. If Trey Hendrickson, like, he signs with the that whole thing with the Bengals works out, they're going to be playing some really good guys over there. So, and then Baltimore, obviously, they love rushing the passer. So, they were second in the league in sacks last year. So
I just got very worried for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to lie.
He just thought about that right now.
That's terrible. 2 different games a year, 6 games.
You playing Myles Garrett twice.
I mean, the Bengals aren't rocking with. They haven't re-signed Trey Hendrickson.
It's still
But if he does re-sign there, that is 6 games where there are premier quarterback rushers coming up for you, and you're 41 years old.
And don't forget, like I said, John Harbaugh, he's a very good defensive mind himself over there in Baltimore. He might not have the flashiest guys on the edge or on the inside, but regardless, they're going to get to the quarterback, and they're going to throw all types of wrenches at you. So, especially in the AFC North. I mean, did you watch, what is it? They had, what is it? Like the last couple weeks of, what is it? What is that show called? Training camp. When they do the training camps. Hard Knocks. Yeah. So they did Hard Knocks with the AFC North. I don't know if you watched it, because it was like the middle of the season with them. You kind of seen just like how difficult that division is, and how ready these teams are to play each other in that sense. So it's like, he's going into a culture for sure, and I'm thinking like, I don't know. It's gonna be tough because even for his psyche, Aaron Rodgers' psyche, because according to Adam Schefter, I think he said that Aaron Rodgers was the third option. You know what I'm saying? So they try to trade for Matthew Stafford. That fell through. They try to re-sign Justin Fields. Something happened, I guess. Like the relationship was strained as well. I think with the Russell Wilson thing going on, that didn't fall through. So he was the third option. You know what I'm saying? How would you feel being the third option? You know what I'm saying? You go to the club and what is it? You see this girl, but like she's talking to homeboy over there, but then she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to him over there, but he nods her off, and then like, okay, oh, I got him, I got Jaren. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, what the fuck? What did I do to deserve that?
And I'm just telling you. Do you think that's what maybe Aaron might be feeling a little bit, or what do you think?
That's how I'm feeling right now. Shit, honestly, nah, but yeah, I would too. And his at 41, you know, he's not trying to, like I said, he's trying to put himself in the best position to win. So if you feel like you were put on the back burner when you had interest in joining a team, but the team was like, you know, let's see if we could do something else first, that would make me feel a little salty, I guess, at first. But you're 41, you don't got much time left. You wanted your best chance of winning another ring. You just got to suck it up and get out there and go play. You're already 3 weeks late anyways.
That is true. And couple things, like what if this is a failure before the season is? What if we're like midway through the season, let's say the Steelers are like only got like 3 wins midway through the season, right? And you know, Aaron Rodgers has been struggling, the offense isn't putting up points. I mean, the offense hasn't been putting up points the last couple of years. I mean,
let me ask you this. You said midway through the season, 3 wins. How many games are we talking?
We're 8 games into the season.
Fuck.
And they're 3-5, and they're 3-5, right? And they're on the brinks, you know, and the division's already, you know, you got the Bengals probably, they got 6 wins. The Baltimore Ravens, they got 5 wins, and then now it's just they're battling with the Cleveland Browns. You know what I'm saying? Like for last place right there. What do you think? Are they gonna bring in Will Howard to get some live reps? What do you think?
I don't think that. I guess halfway through the season, I don't think is enough, because at 3-5 you can still turn your year around. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you're looking at the Ravens and the Bengals and they have significantly more wins, like if they have double your wins, like 6 to 8 wins, then I would probably start to look at ways to turn the season around. But I mean, if everyone else is, you know, playing around the same, we've all got a couple wins, a couple losses, you know, we're all just trying to figure it out that first half of the season, they'll probably stick with it with Aaron Rodgers.
That I mean, like I said, I mean, there hasn't been any continuity with that Steelers team for the last couple of years. I mean, like I said, they've been a bottom feeder in terms of offense. They can't produce at all offensively. Like they're more like a run first kind of offense, and like that's been stagnant all these years as well. I mean, Najee Harris, you know, he's done what he can do for that team as well. I mean, he's been a 1,000-yard rusher for them, so it's like he's not really. It wasn't him being the issue, but now he's gone. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, who you leaning on really? Jalen Warren? You know what I'm saying? Like
they didn't draft another running back.
I don't remember if they did actually. So I don't think they actually.
It wasn't significant enough to.
To even think about. So like who they gonna lean on in that backfield with Aaron Rodgers, and you got DK Metcalf. But again, like I said, this is the assistant living home, because they also got Robert Woods. Like Robert Woods is old as hell too. You know what I'm saying? Like those are
Robert Woods is the wide receiver 2 is crazy.
Yeah, him being the wide receiver 2, and then I mean they got Calvin Austin the third. He's a really speedy guy, and I really like him as a receiver. He's really good. I mean, he can create separation like nothing. So, but again, if this potential thing turns into a blunder and they just fail and they have a losing season for the first time under Mike Tomlin, is he on the hot seat? Is Mike Tomlin out of there?
Nah, he can't do that. He's never lost. He's never had a losing season ever.
But look, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and they do the same thing over. They win, but that's all they really do. Nothing much has been going on in the postseason wise. So it's like you get all this regular season success. They've been patient with him. He's been there 19 years. Where's the postseason? Yes, you got them a Super Bowl, but you know. We need more. We need more these coming years. And obviously, there hasn't been continuity at the quarterback position. So that plays a huge role as well. But do you think, you know, and we've seen it, quarterbacks get coaches fired. They get coaches fired because of their poor performance. And so if Aaron doesn't pan out and they put all this money in the line, does Mike Tomlin get the boot? You don't think so?
I would hope not. I would hope not. This man has been there since 2007 and has given them nothing but winning seasons and a Super Bowl. I don't think I don't think you because how much better does it get? Like, you know, like, because you're in a position to where you're one step away from being back in the almost at the finals, being back in the Super Bowl and having another ring as a coach. But if you fire as an owner, if you fire Mike Tomlin, does it, like, are the coaches that are out there, maybe you take a chance on a young guy that's got, you know, some new ideas or whatever, but does it get much better, especially sooner than later? Like, it's going to take a while, possibly. If you fire him, you're going to have to bring a new coach. You got new offensive coaches, new defensive coaches, new schemes, new everything. I mean, that would take a while for them to get back to where they were when they're already at that point. They're just one step away.
That is true, Jaron. And then also, Jaron, like, important things to note, he has 2 revenge games this year. Week 1, he's going to be playing the Jets. He's playing the Jets week 1, and then he's also going to be playing the Packers in week 8. And with him playing the Packers in week 8, Aaron Rodgers can become the 5th quarterback in NFL history to beat all 32 teams. Wow. And so, yeah. So, I mean, you know, Aaron Rodgers got a lot looking forward to, at least. You know, that week 1 matchup is going to be marquee, I feel like, in terms of, like, you know, setting the tone for both of those franchises. You know, Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers, you know, the young gun versus, you know, the oldest man on earth. You know what I'm saying? So
both teams, they got a lot to prove.
They got a lot to prove. So, and, you know, with that, I just want to hear what you guys think down below. How do you feel about this Aaron Rodgers signing? I know I got my friend Trey, you know, he's a big Steelers fan. He wasn't a big favorite of this signing himself. You know, I got other friends, you know, that, you know, haven't really enjoyed this signing, but I want to know what you guys think down below in terms of this Aaron Rodgers signing. Where do the Steelers go from here, y'all? All right, Jaron. Next thing is, look, Saquon cannot take a pounding anymore. So he cannot take a pounding anymore. So I don't know if you heard the news, Jaron. Saquon, you know, he went on the air. He recently stated in an interview with Chris Long on his own podcast, Green Light with Chris Long, hinting that retiring out of nowhere. So let's kind of go into this whole quote of what he actually said. He said, "I'll probably be one of those guys that'll be out of here in out of nowhere, right? I'll probably just wake up one day, whether it's next year or 2 years or 4 years, and just be like, yeah, it's over. I don't think I'll ever lose a passion. I'm just a competitor. The competitive nature is always going to be there." That's what Saquon said. But he also said his favorite player of all time is Barry Sanders. He's probably something similar to that. I'll be balling and then just be like, yeah, and call it quits. You know, and then for references, you know, Barry Sanders retired at the age of 30. Saquon is currently 28 years old. So when I look at this, you know, I really think he's really channeling his inner, you know, Thanos in that sense. He's like, I'll finally rest, you know, and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe. Because if we look at this, you know, I wouldn't blame him at all, considering that the running back and also linebacker position, they take the bulk of the hits in the NFL. And then for, you know, Saquon himself, you know, he won Rookie of the Year. He won offensive play, and this year alone, he won Offensive Player of the Year. He won the Super Bowl. He's a Madden cover. He went on the Madden cover. He also signed a nice, sweet new deal with the Eagles. So there's not much for him to do, honestly, to strengthen his legacy. And I think he's definitely made himself a first ballot Hall of Famer. And so I just kind of want to get your opinion on that. Like, how you feel about Saquon kind of going out and stating something like that?
I mean, he's, like you said, I mean, the running backs take the brunt of the hits. They also have the shortest lifespan in the NFL, I feel like, you know, compared to linebackers and every other position. Because they run into 300, 400-pound dudes every single play that they get the ball. So, I mean, him being 28, if you were to retire in the next 2 to 3 years, you'd be 30, 31. You're still in the prime of your life physically, but as far as football goes, I mean, you may not have the same burst, the same first step, the same lateral quickness, you know, whatever it is. He's hurdling people. Maybe he doesn't think he'll be able to jump over niggas no more. I don't know. But, I mean, it is best to go out, you know, on top where you're still at your peak physically. And those things like that just help your legacy, too. You know, because we look at some certain running backs that played longer than they should have, and we're like, well, okay, well, this guy was so great, but then he did these last 5 years of his career. it'll look better, 10 years later on his legacy.
Do you think with in terms of him, because we've watched a player that we both watched probably growing up our entire lives, and Adrian Peterson, he didn't really call it quits. There were times where we felt like, okay, maybe he should just, hang it up, but he just didn't, because he's a competitive guy himself in Adrian Peterson, and we all, AD all day. So in terms of that, do you think like with Saquon, do you think he could possibly kind of go in that route too still, or do you think he probably will just like kind of hang it up in terms of like, because he kind of did everything already. Yeah. And if we look at it, I feel like if he didn't play for the Giants, I think that kind of hurt him. That hurt him more than it helped him, I think. Granted, he played, like I said, he won Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Giants, but they wasted some years on him, and then they kind of did him dirty on his exit out. So I think, he wants to kind of solidify himself with Philly. Do you think he retires a Philadelphia Eagle at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's where he won his ring. I think he finishes up with the Eagles.
Giants fans gonna be salty about that one.
Who cares? They did him dirty. They had it. Listen, we saw this on the Hard Knocks. Weren't the Giants on Hard Knocks that year that he left? Right. So everyone in that front office were telling the GM, hey, if we lose Saquon, that'll hurt us. Why don't we try to retain Saquon? They even tried to talk about, okay, is Saquon worth the money he wants? And they started listing out other running backs in around, a higher price point. He's better than every single running back they name. And this man, they still let him go. The Giants did not care about him. Fans can be salty, but the fans loved him, but the organization didn't care about him. So it's not a bad thing if he retires somewhere else. It's not a bad thing if he says fuck the Giants ultimately. I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
It's not, and I know he's been kind of cordial about it, and like there's no bad blood. But I think if we really dive deep, I think there's a chip on his shoulder for that for sure. And every time he plays the Giants, when he does see that Giants logo again, he wants to go 110% as opposed to 100% against them. My question is for you too. Like, what could the next 2 years look for him? Like, and for Philly as well. Like, do you think he has another Offensive Player of the Year in his future? Maybe a Super Bowl MVP? Does he crack 2,000 yards rushing? Maybe have an historic season like he did this year. Or what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen with him?
It's hard to, like, last year was so good for him. It's hard to, like, top that, But I think he's still a top 5 rusher in terms of yards, in terms of all that stuff. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are still a top 5 team in the NFL. Top 3, probably, if we're being honest. And
number 1, maybe.
Right. You know what I mean? They won the Super Bowl. Going into this year, they are the best team in the league. So, but as far as the team success, I don't know if Saquon's going to take them to the promised land. It's going to probably take more, but he still has the power to do that for sure.
Most definitely. And, I want to hear what you guys think about this whole Saquon debacle that's going on. How do you guys feel about him hinting at possibly following in, a legend in Barry Sanders, following in his footsteps and retiring early? Just let me know what you guys think down below about this whole situation. And, speaking of retirement, Jaron, Derek Carr is the next Marvel superhero, I think. Because if we look at this, he finally kind of cleared the air a little bit about his retirement. So let's kind of go into this and what he kind of stated about, why he retired. So, it states that, it's according to sources, veteran quarterback Derek Carr said he decided to pass up on $30 million salary and retire because he didn't want to take the Saints' money. No pun intended, but that man is a saint for that. He's 34. He said he didn't want to do the Saints wrong by undergoing shoulder surgery and collecting his paycheck while sitting out on the sideline. He said that part was tough because I didn't want to have surgery and just sit there. And it sounds crazy, but just take the Saints' money. He said, I wouldn't have been able to play if I had the surgery, and then if I tried to play with it, I wasn't near 100%, and so that doesn't help them either. I just felt like it was the right thing to do for myself and for the team. He also went on and said that, I never played for just money. I had a whole bunch of people tell me I'm crazy, and say like, man, I would have done that myself. And I said, that's cool and all, but I've gained all these things that the world has to offer, and it doesn't really do anything for your heart. And I knew my heart was at peace, and that really was all that mattered for him. So, just looking at this quote and just kind of hearing him, in my opinion, and obviously I've thrown a lot of slander at Derek Carr, just mainly because he was a Raider overall, so didn't really like him as a player just because he played for the Raiders. But I had it kind of out for him because of that. And and just for the Saints organization, he understood and he believed, he knew he wasn't going to be 100%. And that's a key and telling thing for players, I think, when they know like it's time to just kind of hang it up and just like leave it all on the field, because you're not going to benefit. He knew he wasn't going to benefit, and the Saints weren't going to benefit. But I think we kind of talked about it too. I mean, first of all, he didn't leave it up to chance at all. He's kind of just he's like, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna just leave it to the younger guys. But we kind of talked about it, how like he kind of got done dirty, in his career. You know what I'm saying? I kind of want you to kind of speak on it, because I know Derek Carr is probably one of your favorite players that you've watched for sure.
Oh man, I'm sitting here crying, wiping tears right now thinking about it. Derek Carr was, since 2016, has had probably the worst career, I think, in terms of how he was treated and how things went for him. Breaks his leg in 2016 after a 12-4 season. Favorites to go to the AFC West Championship game that year. Breaks his leg in week 17. That's absolutely heartbreaking. So then he comes back the next year. We have a couple underwhelming seasons, and in those underwhelming seasons, get rid of Carr. I'm a huge Raider fan. I saw it. I'm in the comments. I'm looking at everything. These guys they want Derek Carr's head on a post. Like, it was bad those years, and it seemed like he was a little scared of what could happen if he continued to be the player he was before he broke his leg. And that it was very clear, very antsy in the pocket, didn't roll out as much, didn't use his legs as much after that injury. Come to 2020, we get to the playoffs again. Awesome. I have no complaints there. Then Josh McDaniels comes. Josh McDaniels is the worst thing that ever happened to the Raiders organization and Derek Carr in general. They bring over oh my gosh, I keep wanting to call him Jaden McDaniels. Josh McDaniels. They bring him over. We bring over Devontae Adams as well. We have Devontae Adams. We have Hunter Renfrow. We have Darren Waller. We have all these guys. Our defense, it's not the greatest, but it's
Josh
not
Jacobs was there
Josh
too?
Jacobs. And this is right before he was the overall leading rusher number one leading rusher in the NFL. Like, we had weapons upon weapons. The first year didn't go as expected. The defense was terrible. And Josh McDaniels, at the end of the first year with Derek Carr, benched Devontae Adams, benched Derek Carr.
And they went with Jared.
And we went with Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, I remember that.
I get it. Our season is over, but we brought over a man who is, at that time, a top 2, top 3 wide receiver in the NFL to our team to play with his college teammate. And the coach was like, no, we're not winning enough. We're going to sit him. Then in turn, you're not going to make the wide receiver happy. You don't want to pay Josh Jacobs. He leaves. Now, it was bad taste. We trade Darren Waller away. Hunter Renfrow retires. Everyone's gone. That's it. It's done for. And then Derek Carr goes to the Saints. Derek Carr was well received at first when he went to the Saints. If you remember, everyone was like, oh, man, we got a quarterback now. We good. Couple weeks go by. Trade him, cut him, get rid of him. Like, he never felt welcome. I feel like after 2016, he was never comfortable anywhere he went. New coaches, new schemes, everything. Never got comfortable, never was able to settle in. He had a couple years where he was able to make some shit happen, but it just wasn't enough. And ultimately, he's blamed for it. And it's a fucking 11 on versus 11 team sport. And I think it's pretty unfair. He got a pretty unfair hand dealt to him.
Definitely. He definitely got, like I said, I mean, I finally kind of, like, obviously in the aftermath of everything, I finally grew a little bit of a heart for Derek Carr himself, and just seeing him, like, talk about how he just didn't want to take the Saints' money. And, like, a lot of players don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, but, Aaron Rodgers, who knows, like I said, but I've kind of just grown on him a little bit. And now just understanding, the limelight in which you followed Derek Carr all of his career. I don't know, maybe with his brother, like maybe his brother had a play to do with everything going on, because his brother didn't have that much success in the NFL himself, David Carr, that is. Mm-hmm. So maybe that left a bad taste on a lot of teams and a lot of sports fans as well, especially the Raiders. And now I would say they're loyal, but they're definitely impatient because it's been a long time. It's been they need something. The Saints, they've been spoiled by the riches with Drew Brees, having Drew Brees all those years, and then going to like Derek Carr and all that stuff too. So you get spoiled like that, then like obviously you want results quickly, and it just doesn't pan out in the NFL like that. And the NFL is very impatient now in terms of like quarterbacks, and they're always going to be the ones to blame. It's either them, and then if they get blamed, the head coach is going to get blamed. And so it's just like it's a recurring cycle, and he's just kind of been a part of like one of the most toxic cycles in the NFL that we've been seeing elevate more and more as the years gone on, because patience is wearing thin in the NFL. So
and to that point, I don't like. When you say Derek Carr, Raider fans were impatient. We went through. I'm 25. I've been through 25 years of actual hell with the Raiders. I think Rich Gannon, 2001, 2002 was still there. Mm-hmm. So I mean, maybe not 25 total years, but as far as me watching football, we've never had a fucking good quarterback. Never had a quarterback that was good enough to take us to a playoff game, let alone have a chance to win our division. So when Derek Carr did have his struggles, I didn't understand it. Like, this guy is the best since Rich Gannon, and we still aren't good enough. I think it just kind of shows how
it does speak to the franchise itself. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm saying this unbiasedly, but we know the Raiders are probably considered a poverty franchise in that sense. But
the Raiders have the richest history in the NFL
since moving from Oakland to Vegas. Obviously that whole spurt too kind of messed up everything, divided a lot in that ownership and just the fans, because leaving Oakland, which is a rich history over there, Oakland. You know what I'm saying? So I think overall, just I don't know, like maybe what if he probably signed with them? What if he got him 1 more year or 2 more years? Obviously the Saints are already, like I mentioned before, the Saints are already in a cap disaster, and their rebuild has just been it's been kind of on a pause because of dealing with Derek Carr and just overall just trying to recover from the whole Drew Brees career. No, not in a negative way, but just trying to get that money back and get back on the right track for this rebuild, because it's looking like the Saints aren't going to be a good team for a pretty long time. I feel like it might be. We're looking at 5-10 years probably until the Saints actually be relevant again, and they have a rich history over there as well.
Hard to rebuild in the NFL.
It is very difficult. It's difficult, and it starts from the top. Starts from the top, GM, who you get, and who they, how they scout players. The quarterback position is a key. You want that offensive line to be, you want a good like left tackle, right tackle. You need a keystone there. You need a keystone on defense. Like, you just need bits and pieces everywhere. You don't need the full shebang. You know what I'm saying? You just need a couple guys here to really generate and start that rebuild. So,
and look at the Broncos, man. It took them like what, 7-8 years?
Took us 7-8 years, and I think the ball's officially rolling. Gone through plethora of quarterbacks, 12, 13 different starting quarterbacks. We've gone through 4 or 5 head coaches, couple GM changes, John Elway, not being arrogant and stepping down. Like, it takes time, and just kind of going back onto Derek Carr, like I said, I think, he truly is a saint. Again, no pun intended, but he truly is a saint as a guy. He's a really good guy, it seems like. And, he has a family too, right? He has like 4 kids or something like that. Yeah. So I think he's just looking at his own health too, just because, a lot of players think about that too. If you do have a family, it's like, okay, he's 34. He's like, he wants at least by 40, when his kids are like at least 15, 16, he still wants to do the same things with them.
Right. Be able
to run around and still hang out with them, because if he would have risked his whole career. Because I mean, what is it? Drew Brees even went out and stated like his right shoulder is blown. Yeah. It's cooked. He's done. Like, he can't. He's left-handed now. Like, he's left-handed because his whole right shoulder is just it messed up from his career. So I think maybe Derek Carr kind of took a little page out of that book and just like, I don't want to go through what he went through. And obviously, other players like Cam Newton, like his shoulder was a big issue too
man.
But considering all this like retirement and stuff, and I want you guys to let me know down below how you feel about Derek Carr and him coming out and stating him basically not wanting to take the Saints money. But going into like retirement, Jaron, what do you consider retiring early? Like, when do you consider a player's retiring early?
I mean, you got to look at their age. We got to look at what they were offering the year before, or right before they retired, and kind of determine if they, or kind of predict if they had, still a certain amount of high level play left to give us. So there are a lot of different players who definitely retired early as far as those standards go.
Can you give me like an age range? Do you think maybe, what is it, like before 35 maybe, or maybe in their 30s, playing less than 5 seasons? What do you think?
Well, as far as the NFL goes, I think retiring early would be retiring before you're 30 or at like 30, 31. I think that's a little early. That's very early. I'd say 35. I think we're more getting into NBA. Like those guys have a little bit longer of a shelf life. I think if you're 35 in the NFL, you're old at that point.
That is, yeah. I mean, I get what you mean, and it's a brutal game. So it's like, being 34 at an NFL age is probably, adding 15 plus years onto your body, probably playing in the NFL, especially considering the position you play too. Quarterbacks, they get beat up a little bit unless they got a clean pocket,
Unless you're Tom Brady.
Unless it's Tom Brady, who, that man's something else. But, I want to kind of go into like our top players that retired early, that we at least experienced, that we got to watch. We're gonna leave out Barry Sanders and folks like that, Gale and all them guys, like because we didn't get to watch them. Kind of the same thing with the finals moment. Kind of some of my guys, an honorable mention for me, Patrick Willis. He was a dog for the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, the middle linebacker himself. What is it? He just all around like really good player. I think he retired at 30 himself, but that is the linebacker position that's a little bit tough. At 4, I got Rob Gronkowski. He retired at 29. It's still kind of up in the air for him if he is going to, come back to the NFL. So I definitely got Rob Gronkowski at number 4.
How old is he now?
29.
Oh, he's 29 right now.
Yeah, he's 29 now. So he's still kind of
young.
He's still kind of young as a tight end. And I think injury, and I think for most of the players, injury and just like love for the game, kind of,
36.
What?
Talking about Gronk?
Oh, he retired at 29. My fault. I mean, he retired.
What? I was like,
Yeah, I was gonna say 29.
He retired at 29. Another honorable mention, my fault. Let's throw that in there too. Aaron Donald. I think more so. I mean, it was more so just right off into the sunset for him. He said he lost his passion for the game. Aaron Donald's one of those guys. My top 3 guys, though, I think we all know we're going to mention his name, Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck, the what ifs for Andrew Luck, he could have been maybe a 3-time Super Bowl champion at this point. I think maybe, but injuries, I think what was it, concussions and stuff like that were playing a huge part into why he retired himself. And then, with number two, Calvin Johnson. Watching Calvin Johnson, I think, and with him, because in terms of the Detroit Lions themselves, those earlier years, with Barry Sanders, like they weren't winning. So the reason why he retired, I think he was just tired of losing. And then same with Calvin Johnson, like they just weren't winning games. He was producing as much as he could. Him and Matthew Stafford were like the cornerstones of that franchise for a really long time.
They had like one good year together. They had like 12 wins.
Yeah. So, but overall though, just Calvin Johnson was, everyone knows he was a guy that was getting double teamed. You've seen all the pictures and stuff like that. I think the one when he's playing the Saints, they had 2 guys just like smothering him at the goal line. So
off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, off the line of scrimmage. So Calvin Johnson's definitely one of those guys for sure. And then also I got Luke Kuechly as well. Luke Kuechly, 5-time Pro Bowler, I believe it was. Yeah. It was all defense for the first team all defense almost every year he played. I think just injuries obviously played a part for him too. Luke Kuechly is probably going to go down as one of the best linebackers I've watched too. So I don't know. What do you think about that list? Do you have anybody?
Man, honestly, you hit it all on the head right there. I mean, there's no better list of people that retired early to play the game for sure. Andrew Luck is the biggest one to me because that guy caught all types of boos. That one was an actual shock to the NFL community. That was actually pretty crazy.
It was.
That would be the worst one.
It was indeed, and obviously we could throw maybe Derek Carr in there just because and obviously and we spoke about it, but
basically he medically retired. Yeah. So I mean, I would have took that $30 million. I don't know why he didn't do that. But,
I mean, I would have took it too. I ain't gonna lie.
And who else?
Screw the shoulder.
Jordan Travis also medically retired too. He didn't even get to play yet.
He didn't even get to play, so we don't know what the potential of him would have been. But a lot of those guys, retire medically. Those are like some of the main reasons a lot of guys retire. But I want to know what you guys think think down below. Who are some of your favorite players that retired early? It could be from the 2000s, 2010s, you know, from the 90s, whatever it is, you know, just kind of let me know down below what you guys think. So, alrighty, Jaron. Next is the NCAA is finally paying up. Let's kind of look into this, Jaron. This is actually kind of crazy to look at. So the NCAA will pay nearly $2.8 million in back damage over the next 10 years to athletes who competed in college at any time from 2016 to the present day. So, and this is talking about any sports. We're talking football, basketball, hockey, whatever. Like whatever you played, and you know, whether you were good or not. I mean, I think I don't think there's really a criteria for this though, but let's kind of look into this. So look, this will compensate the athletes who were previously barred from earning money from their name, image, and likeness, talking about NIL, while in college. Each athlete will be paid a fixed amount. With this new settlement deal in effect, each school can pay its athletes up to a certain limit. The annual cap is expected to start at roughly $20.5 million per school in 2025 and increase yearly during the decade-long deal. At least for the NCAA football, the budget for it is going to be projected around $13 million to $16 million a year. Kind of looking at this, I think this is really a good move, especially for former athletes who, you know, if we think about it, like, you know, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, like guys like that were just like, you know, rising stars in college football at least. I mean, we can even go into college basketball as well. There's some really good players. You know, you got the Joel Embiid, you know, the players that played 1 year and just kind of boom, went into the NBA. Like they're gonna get paid. They're gonna get paid, and it's probably gonna be a lump sum for some of these guys, depending on the school. It looks like some of the schools are gonna get more than others. I don't know how it's really gonna look like, but again, it's for all players that weren't, you know, eligible for any money via NIL. So what do you think about this, Darren?
Shit, man. If there's a max, I'm gonna tell you right now who deserves it: Reggie Bush, Johnny Manziel, and Jimmer Fredette. Those three names are like automatically, like, these guys brought so much to the table as far as college goes, and Texas A&M extended its stadium because of Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, Money Manziel. Like, look at all those nicknames. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like Johnny Manziel is the biggest one to me. Like, I know it for a fact that all those jerseys that were sold on campus and stuff like that, 90% of those were his. And if whatever the max is, what'd you say it was? Was the max 20 mil?
Yeah, like it's gonna probably start at like 20 mil per school.
Oh, per school?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a quarter of it needs to go to Johnny Manziel from Texas A&M. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know that's crazy because a lot of and when I looked at the comments of that post, a lot of people were saying the same thing. People like Johnny Manziel, but unfortunately though, this only is to like it's only going as far as 2016, and Johnny Manziel played.
So from 2016 to 2021. That's it.
2016 till now, basically.
Right.
So 2016 till now. So it's not gonna touch like guys like him, Cam Newton, at least in the football world, they're not gonna get nothing. So I'm thinking like, you know, do you think this settlement will probably expand a little bit further to probably even going back to like, you know, the 2000s, but like this
Reggie Bush. I
mean, they're saying this is going to be 2.8 billion. This might touch the trillions. I think they gotta like, because there's gonna be a lot of players, a lot of other players, you know, beyond 2016. What about those 2015? Those players that graduated or went into the NFL in 2015 who were a really good player.
Yeah.
Players like Tavon Austin. Yeah. And a lot of people, you know, he needs to get, you know, he needs to get his dues. Reggie Bush, he needs to get his dues as well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they gave him his Heisman back.
I mean, yeah. So they gave him his Heisman back. So now give him his money. Give him what they deserve. You know, some of these top tier players. You know, even the ones that didn't succeed in the NFL, they would have needed these.
And Achilles Smith,
Achilles Smith, he was a bust in the NFL, but you know, but he was a household name in the NCAA. So it's like guys like that, like they definitely need to expand it a little bit. And I'm like just curious, like why stop at 2016? I know it's probably obviously I think that 2016 till 2016 till now, like that was the height of like NIL and stuff like that. I believe that's probably the case, because you guys, like, some of these guys were flashy, some of the flashiest guys you probably watch in football in a really long time. So probably that's why it's stopping in 2016. But I don't know. Like like I said, this is a really good move, I think, for those former players. You know, you're gonna Joe Burrow. Oh my goodness, Joe Burrow. He wasn't even there for NIL himself. Joe Burrow, that man needs like a nice little fat chunk himself.
What about the Ball brothers? I would have been an incentive for every single one of them to go to college and stay in college for a couple years.
All of the Ball brothers, like look, like LeVar Ball, he better be screaming, making sure those guys, and they're gonna get their money for sure. Like even for basketball, like LaMelo, Lonzo, and even LiAngelo, who didn't pan out, he's about to get a nice little lump sum that's gonna help him out too, hopefully. So
I don't know about Jello, man. Lonzo for sure. He didn't even get to the regular season.
Though. Yeah, so
before he stole in China, they weren't even in the regular season yet for Jello guy. No, Melo was gonna.
Oh, you're right. So, but Lonzo, he went to UCLA, so he got only 1 year. So, I mean, for basketball players, I mean, they're gonna get a nice little chunk for that 1 year that they play, because I mean, obviously basketball is a little bit different than football. So I don't know how that football is gonna work out. Like I said, they're all gonna get a fixed amount. So, but it's gonna increase yearly. So overall, I think this is a really good move for. You know, just for the NCAA. I mean, I was happy when the NIL was, you know, out and ready for some of these players. So, you know, when people start getting paid.
Is this only for men's? Was that specified at all, or is it for all college athletes?
All college athletes. So women's, all that. So even like
because Caitlin Clark's run a couple years ago too. That she probably owed some money.
Oh yeah, she's gonna definitely get her lump sum of money too. And overall, like even like I don't know, like
was Caitlin Clark there before 21?
Who was
Caitlin Clark there before 21?
I believe
because they started paying players in 21.
No, I think Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I think she got there in 21.
Okay.
No, she was class of 2020. So yeah, she got there in 21. So she was able to touch a little bit of NIL herself. So, but I think like, and everyone in the like, let me know in the comments, like maybe because I might be missing some like top tier guys, maybe from like college baseball, maybe from, you know, like I said, more basketball guys, maybe, you know, some track guys or something like that, you know, or some, you know, anyone along those lines. Like I said, it's gonna expand, and I think, like I said, this 2.8 billion is probably gonna go by very quickly, and in these next 10 years. So, and they're gonna have to probably, you know, either extend it or, you know, put a little bit more on the table for in terms of that. So
yeah,
but I mean, like I said, this is probably this is huge for, you know, for a college athlete in general, because I mean they put all their blood, sweat, and tears into that, and while being a full-time college student as well. So
there's a lot of dudes who were studs in the NCAA, you know, as far as all their respective sports go, that didn't pan out in the pros. So if it's, you know, from the years 2016 to 21, like you say, before they started paying NIL, there's a lot of guys in there who probably are doing regular schmegular shit right now.
They're gonna
get a good amount of money that'll help them.
That'll help them, and hopefully get, you know, whatever they got going on, help them off their feet and stuff like that. So, like I said, I want you guys to let me know down below what you guys think about this whole NIL settlement that's going on. Like I said, do you guys think this is the best move for college athletes? Just let me know down below. Alrighty, with all that, y'all, that wraps up all of our main topics that we had going on today. We do got a couple questions that we want to kind of go over. And before you ask a couple of the questions, Noah, Jaron, I want to ask you real quick. We mentioned a little bit. Jair Alexander got released by the Packers. Where will he go? Where do you think the best spot for him is?
Man, he's only 28. I thought he was a little older, but he's only 28. So, I mean, honestly, he could go somewhere and still give a couple years of good football and build something. He doesn't have to go into a win now situation. So, I mean, there's a lot of options for him. If you want to hear my biased opinion, it'd be dope if the Raiders picked him up.
That's reasonable. I mean, they need someone like that. I was thinking, you know, and shout out to Danny, but Danny, he's a Falcons fan. He keeps raving about them possibly getting Jalen Ramsey. They don't even got to trade for that man no more. They could probably, I mean, Jair Alexander probably want a little bit more money than Jalen Ramsey, but they could pick up the Falcons. I can see him going to the Falcons. That's a really good, I think that'll be a good pickup for that Falcons team for sure. I think that's probably a place I think he would go.
I think they had beef. Like, he was beefing with some of the coaching staff, right? Like, because they suspended him for a week and stuff.
Yeah, it was a whole debacle going on over there.
I mean, what if he went to, like, the Lions or like a division rival, or to the Minnesota Vikings or something, so we could see them 2 times a year.
I can see something like that possibly happening. And speaking of Jair Alexander, Jaron, my next question actually, so PFF. They actually released their top 10 cornerback ranking, and actually, Jair's at number 9. When you look at that rating, the rankings, how do you feel about it? Do you agree with that? The top rated corners?
I mean, to your team's credit, I think Pat Surtain did absolutely dirty, but other than that, it's fine. I don't think there's a problem with it.
I honestly, yeah, look, and obviously into my bias, but most unbiased because I mean he's the defensive player of the year.
Yeah,
he won defensive player of the year, so I don't know. I think Pat should be above Sauce. Flip those two. I was kind of surprised seeing Trent McDuffie at 3. I don't know. I mean, he is a good corner, but
lockdown man.
He is a lockdown man. I mean, some of these guys. I thought Derek Stingley was a little bit better than Jalen Johnson and Trent McDuffie. I'll probably put Derek Stingley up at 3, maybe as my top guy. But overall, this list I like it a lot. I think J.C. Horn, he was sounding off. You know, he sounded off about that. He did not like that list at all. I think I think
top 20, right?
Yeah, he was like 25th, the 27th, or maybe the 27th best. Or 7th, somewhere around there. He was one of the.
He was disrespected.
He felt disrespected, but I think for PFF, they said because of his injury history, that's the reason why he didn't crack the top 10. But overall, I like this list a lot. So again, maybe switch up Pat Surtain in a second. Put Derek Stingley Jr. in the top 3, and you got no complaints from me. So.
I mean, it's interchangeable. You can definitely switch some guys around, but I didn't see any problems at all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And no, I know you said you had a couple questions you wanted to ask us as well.
Yeah. So hold on. Yeah, hold on. It's hard to produce and talk at the same time. Read those for me.
Alrighty. So your first question: should they bring back the NBA Finals logo?
You know what's crazy? And because there was outcry like for game 1 and like throughout the entire like weekend, and I don't know if you noticed it, but I think they digitally put the NBA Finals logo on the screen, so like if you're watching it at home you can kind of see it, but you kind of can see that it looked janky.
It was dusty.
It did not look good, so I think they should. And I think what is it, he's finally, what the hell? What's his name again? Adam Silver, is that his name?
The commissioner.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I was blanking for a second, but Adam Silver, he actually went out and he finally stated that he felt, he's like, you know what? I'm listening to what you guys are saying. And he kind of fumbled the ball still, and gave us a digital imprint of it. So I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, he's trying his best, but I think they should, because that brings a lot of like nostalgia, and it brings a lot of like just aura, because I mean this game looks auraless. I think without that NBA Finals, it just looks like a regular smegular season game. So I think just bringing that trophy and putting it either on the logo, like in the middle on the logo and stuff like that, I think that would be probably huge. So what do you think?
The fact that they were willing to go above and beyond for them ugly ass courts in the in-season tournament, but they can't give us a simple trophy on the court, it's really lazy. And this is the biggest series. This is going to bring you the most viewership. This is what's going to bring you the most money, and you can't even give us a specialized court, a customized court to match the setting. It's lazy. I think
it's a little bit lazy. And then for them to kind of slap it on there like a sticker.
They say, here, nigga, damn.
Here. Yeah, I'm like, man, you might just leave it. We don't want it.
They took it away in that game too, right?
They did.
They had it from the first quarter. NBA Twitter lost their shit. Do you guys see this JPEG image on the court?
It was JPEG.
It was a JPEG, and they took it off in the second quarter. It was gone.
I think Noah would have done better, slapping 100%, it on there. 100%. Noah would have done way better slapping it on there for sure. So
send your resume in.
Send your resume in so we can fix on that, because that was like some chat GPT all the thing going on.
It was distorted. It was blurry. Yeah, it was bad. Okay. Your second question. NBA announces 2026 All-Star Game will officially be USA versus World. Is this a good idea? Yes or no?
I think it is actually. You know what? We talked about this back in like what was it? Right after All-Star break ended, and like we talked about how the format they had originally, that format just didn't look like it panned out too well. So I think it's a really good idea. I mean, I kind of hinted that I feel like they should have done something like that in the future. So I think we'll get a little bit more competition. I feel like. What do you think?
Who wins? That's the question. You got I look at the world team. You got SGA. You got Giannis, Luka, Jokic. You've got oh god, there was another name I had in the back of my mind, but just those guys alone, like that's like the top. That's the top 5. That could be a top 5 list in the NBA right now.
I mean, if we look at it, I mean, the world's been kind of dominating the NBA all the last 7 years because our MVPs have all been from foreign countries.
And
so,
Wemby, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I'm like, I mean, the world is kind of closing in on that skill set in terms of the U.S. versus the world. So, and I think in 2026, I mean, it's gonna be a different landscape in terms of players probably playing for the U.S. In the All-Star game. I think some of these guys. I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe LeBron, and when he plays this next year, I don't know if he's gonna be.
He'll be an All-Star.
He'll be an All-Star, but maybe who knows if he's gonna be a starter. So it's more so just like. I think it's just more so the competition wise. I hope the competition just builds up.
Do you think this kind of changes how they pick all-stars too? Because, I mean, if you have 15 spots for World and you have 15 spots for US, I mean, most of the NBA now is World.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that mean, we gotta get a fucking American? Like, let's get Tyler Hero. And maybe he's not even all-star level that season. Or who's hurt.
Ooh.
Like, if Giannis is hurt, or if, like, let's say Dame is hurt, which he is right now, I mean, that kind of changes how you pick all stars when it comes to doing like a USA versus World format.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely gonna change the landscape for sure. Like those things, and I hope the commissioner, I hope he took that into account. Like, okay, because it's gonna happen. Injuries happen, unfortunately, or players aren't gonna even want to. They're gonna opt out or whatever it is. So yeah, I don't know. That is kind of funny. Like, damn, here you're gonna be the American that's on our team, But I don't think they will do that. I think they're gonna try to solely, even if they gotta like, if Bobo gets picked up and if he's playing average, I think the world's gonna pick him up if the injuries arise to someone at that position that was an all-star. Like I think they gotta at least have the reserves be somebody from the world, and obviously for the US same thing. So
I mean, looking at, like, I just did a little search of NBA players born in the US or from the US. I mean, this list isn't bad. You got, I mean, in the top 5 is LeBron, Steph, Jason Tatum, Anthony Davis, Donovan Mitchell. And then it goes Anthony Edwards, KD, Jalen Brunson, and Kat, and then Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. That's not bad at all. I mean, right? You got injuries are a thing. That's going to be That's going to be what's going on every year. Someone's going to be hurt. That always happens. And then someone else will emerge and play better. But I mean, looking at it, it could still be a good game.
I'm excited though. I hope like I said, I hope, barring any significant injuries happen, I hope next year this all-star game is a little bit more competitive, and that's just my main thing. I just want it to be more competitive. So
just don't do that stupid dumbass fucking 3-on-3 or whatever they did last year.
Yeah,
that didn't work. In like choosing finals MVP from who had the best combined stats. Steph Curry won with like averaging like 11 points or something like that.
Yeah.
It sounded weird. It was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Letting the G Leaguers come in against the actual All-Stars too. That was dumb. I didn't like that at all. Okay, so we have next question is best recess sports game. Kickball, foursquare, tetherball, etc.
Is tetherball the one where like it's on like the rope and like you gotta that I think that's probably one of my top favorite ones. Like I was super competitive when it comes to that because I was actually, when I moved out here to California, I was unaware of this sport because they don't have something like that in Indiana. They didn't have nothing like that. So when I got into like the elementary school system here in California, when I went to recess and stuff like that, I was so curious of what that, and it was always crowded too because like you had like lines waiting to play tetherball and stuff like that. And so I was so curious of what it really was. And so I honestly, like I said, I was never familiar with it. So when I did get to actually play it myself, definitely it was up there. It's probably one, the best recess sport. I do like, what's Foursquare? Is that the one where, or is that handball, the one where you're like hitting it onto the wall and stuff like that?
We call that wall ball.
Wall ball. That I like wall ball. That one, I like that one a lot too. And then obviously kickball. Everyone's try hard for kickball. So so what do you think, Jerry?
Man, I want to say I would love playing, like, as far as recess went, I played wall ball all the time. That was always fun. And yes, like the lines all the way out, you know, going through the whole freaking park, it felt like, or the whole area, playground. There you go. And it was really fun. But I had a tetherball set up in my backyard as a kid.
Oh, you were locked
we
in.
cemented into the ground. Yeah,
you were locked in.
I think we were locked in for sure. A tetherball was one of them ones. It was very fun.
Well, I believe that's all the questions we have for today, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. Please like the videos. Please leave any comments you guys have as well. Shout out to Noah for, all his production for today. Shout out to Jaren. Hey, y'all, that's our co-host right there, y'all. So, get familiar and get used to hearing Jaren's voice as well throughout every stream that we have. And like I said, if you guys have any comments or any questions, please leave them down below, or hit up any of us on social media. Okay, so have a good rest of your week, y'all.
Bye.